We're going to talk some cricket now on the SportsMax zone. Former West Indies captain Kieron Pollard has called time on his Indian Premier League career, ending a 13-year playing stint with the Mumbai Indians. In a statement on social media earlier Tuesday, Pollard said he understood the need for Mumbai to transition. However, the 35-year-old made it clear that this was not the end of his association with the franchise. It hasn't been the easiest decision to make, he says, and I intend to keep playing for a few more years. But following discussions with Mumbai Indians, I have decided to call time on my IPL career. I understand that this incredible franchise, which has achieved so much, needs to transition. And if I'm no longer to play for MI, then I cannot see myself playing against MI either. Once an MI, always an MI. This is not the emotional goodbye to the Mumbai Indians, however, as I have agreed to take up the role of batting coach in the IPL, as well as play in the Mumbai Indians Emirates team. This next chapter of my career is genuinely exciting and allows me to transition myself from playing to coaching. Now, Pollard was among several West Indies players who were released by their franchise on Monday. Cricket commentator Nikhil Uttam-Chandani joins us as we discuss the happenings around West Indies players in the IPL. Nikhil, welcome to the SportsMax Zone. Great to have you on. I've been hearing you doing some good work on the Super 50 CG United. The semis coming up tomorrow, of course. But your take on what has happened this week with IPL and some key players. I saw in the last couple of hours, Kane Williamson, the New Zealand star batsman, also released by the Sunrisers Hyderabad, who he was their captain last season and most expensive player as well. So the IPL clubs appearing, Nikhil, to be taking some serious decisions here.
Yeah, I think, Lance, first of all, thank you very much for your kindness. I think what we're witnessing in the IPL is not necessarily a new thing, but definitely an end of an era. You see guys like Pollard, even Dwayne Bravo, who was released last year and then brought back in and now has been released again. I think it's sort of a transition into the younger generation. The Mumbai Indians, to me, it wasn't a surprise. I think you look at Pollard's last season, 144 runs and 135 deliveries faced. And I mean, that's not terrible. Highest score 25, but still, a man that's played 13 seasons. He's the most capped international ever in the IPL. We expect a lot more from him. He's led them to championships in the past. And I think you look at Dawal Brevis, you look at Tristan Stubbs, and a host of so many young all-rounders coming up around the world in the T20 leagues. I think it was always going to be the end of an era for Kieron Pollard. And I mean, he's served his time extremely well. As you see, there are 5 championships for the Mumbai Indians. And good to see him transition now into a coaching/mentorship role for them. I think they'll benefit from that.
Yeah, you speak about benefit from this new role. Can you, just tell us what would it mean to the Mumbai Indians team, just to have a Kieron Pollard in that capacity?
I think, Mariah, a lot. We all remember Kieron Pollard as West Indies captain. And, maybe the results didn't go the way he would have liked to some extent. But no doubt you see on the field his leadership qualities, just his animation. And also, you speak to guys like Krunal Pandya and Hardik Pandya, who's going to captain the India T20 international team and have been stars for the Mumbai Indians in years past. They speak about the fact that they owe a lot of their success to the mentorship of Kieron Pollard, just his experience, his all-round ability. And let's face the facts. I mean, the Indian Premier League, regardless of how many other leagues emerge around the world, this is the most sought-after tournament. This is probably the most competitive T20 tournament that we have. So to succeed at the amount of time at this level, I think he deserves a lot of credit. And then to also help other players develop, definitely deserves the reward of, I think, getting that batting coach. And it's a trend you'll see, I think, more and more in cricket. We saw it with Darren Sammy in the CPL and the St. Lucia franchise. Brian Lara is now head coach of the Sunrisers Hyderabad. I think this is going to be a trend where you see a lot of those past players who have been successful in the tournament, especially taking over into a coaching and a mentorship role.
And there's something you've said in that response, Nikhil, that I want to expand on because I think it's very important. I think it's an opportunity for us to ask West Indian cricket fans to compartmentalize, to think of Kieron Pollard, the West Indies player and the West Indies captain, and put that aside, but to acknowledge that this man was, for many seasons, a superstar in the most competitive franchise cricket tournament in the world, and that the Kieron Pollard Mumbai Indian was a far different, a far more formidable beast than the West Indies Kieron Pollard. And in this moment, judge him on what he did for the Mumbai Indians and applaud what he was, one of the very best for a very long time, and don't color it with his failures for the West Indies?
I think that's granted, George, and you have to separate the two because international cricket is not the IPL and vice versa. But what I think the criticisms that Pollard and someone like a Darren Samuel will get is, well, look, these guys are not qualified to coach as someone, another head coach in the game. And that's true. But don't underrate or underestimate the experience of being under pressure. This is a man that, as we said, been there for 13 seasons and has led them, even as captain, time and time again in really high pressure moments. Those 5 championships he's won, he has been there for them in those finals. And we all know Indians and sort of their religion in terms of cricket. It is not easy to play in packed Wankhede stadiums in Mumbai or with the pressure of the Indian audience and the worldwide audience watching the IPL. So whilst, yes, I can understand he's not qualified to be a coach, don't underestimate his leadership experience, but also being in those high-pressure situations and being able to execute time and time again, all the way back from the Champions Trophy to as recent as the last IPL they would have won. So he's been there, done that, and I think that helps him and helps him use that with younger players, bringing them through the process.
Yeah, and I want to pick up on that again because, you see, people are saying, well, okay, so as a coach, you won't be spreadsheet Kieron. But there are we never criticize the players, the persons rather, who've gone through the coaching courses and the programs, get the coaching badges, but have never been in a situation where they require 30 runs off 11 balls and they make it for their team. Or they marshal the tail to chase down a target in any form of cricket. But the man who has that experience, as Kieron Pollard does, it is easy to criticize him for not having the coaching badges. And it's not as if one is better than one. The spreadsheet guru is better than the man who has the experiential quality of making runs and knowing how to tell a player to make runs. And so, if he can successfully channel what he demonstrated as a player in the IPL, then Kieron Pollard ought to be an asset as a batting coach.
Yeah, I think so as well. And look, I'm not against, I'm all for coaches getting the qualification. I think it's extremely important. And there's a reason that system is in place. But I do think, there's a difference between the IPL and the international cricket. And you may need those qualifications a bit more for international cricket. But if you look at the blueprint of the Mumbai Indians, when they promoted Ricky Ponting, or when they promoted Mahela J. Warden to that head coach position, they have gone the direction time and time again of past players. Zahir Khan is in one of the administrative positions as director of cricket. So they have consistently looked at players who have not only necessarily for them, but who have been very successful in the world game and have succeeded. So I think based on that standard, I'm not really surprised that they've gone to Pollard. And look, I genuinely think for the service that he's done for them in the 13 seasons, he deserves to have that opportunity. If it doesn't work out, then it doesn't work out. And there can be criticism, but he deserves that opportunity to just continue to serve for that franchise. And I think, as we both mentioned several times, his experience will be, you can't buy that in a shop. You can't get that anywhere else. I mean, 13 seasons of cricket is not something you just snap your fingers and get. So that in itself will be a massive asset to the Mumbai Indians.
Yeah, we're going to leave it there, Nikhil, but a quick comment here on the Super 50 semis, starting off at North Sound on Wednesday with the Pride taking on the Red Force, then the Harpy Eagles against the Scorpions on Thursday. Spare a thought for the Windwards and Leewards, who both started the series so well, but then faded toward the back end. How are things looking for the opener in the semis tomorrow between the Pride and the Red Force?
I think pretty expected to see Guyana and Trinidad emerge from Zone A. I think probably they're the two favorites, but I would say watch out for Barbados and Jamaica. I think two batting lineups that are struggling a bit, reliant on a Shea Hope for Jamaica, reliant on a Brandon King and Rodman Powell. But you look at the last 2 to 3 games they've played, I think they're peaking at the right time. And we know this game of cricket, a very funny game of cricket. So they could turn up tomorrow. Shea Hope could easily get 100, and we saw the destruction he caused in that last game to put the Leewards out of the tournament. Don't sleep on any of those two teams. I think we should have 2 very exciting semis, and then, of course, a grand finale come Saturday. It should be a very week of cricket for the West Indies, and I would definitely encourage everyone to tune in.
Yeah, Nikhil Chandani, thanks for talking to us here on the SportsMax Zone, and we'll be in touch, brother.
Cheers, man. Thanks.
Yeah, back with more on the SportsMax Zone after this.